So what is going on, guys? My name is Zero and welcome back to some more Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville here today on my channel. Today the servers are going down for Battle for Neighborville because we are getting a brand new update. We're getting some character balancing changes, some general changes, some bug fixes, but most importantly we're getting ranked battle arena, where at the end of every season you will get rewards depending on what your rank is in Battle Arena. I'm going to be streaming this later on tonight, so if you do want to come along to my Twitch channel, the link's down in the description. Make sure you go ahead and follow, and then once we do stream some Battle Arena live, you guys are welcome to check it out and also potentially play with me on stream. So make sure you go follow me on Twitch, the link's down in the description. But of course, today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the balancing patch details, which are going to be going live later today after the update has gone live. There's going to be a lot of characters that are going to be changing balance-wise, ability-wise, so there's a lot of details. I recommend you guys listening to this. However, if you guys are not interested in all the specific details and you want a summary, I'll leave a time on screen that you can jump to, which will give you a quick summary of the majority of the details. However, I won't be covering absolutely everything in these summarized patch notes, so I recommend listening to the detailed patch notes if you can. So first off, let's take a look at some of the general changes to Battle for Neighborville. They're actually making a change to overhealth, where they're going to add a decay delay of 10 seconds, and then they're going to add a decay rate of 2 health a second. So basically, you can be overhealed, but then after 10 seconds, your health's going to deplete at 2 health a second until you reach your normal health rate. So you're not necessarily going to have overhealth until you take damage. They've also made a change to sprinting, where they've removed camera control reduction and improved blending of sprinting movement to regular movement speed. So when you first start sprinting and you see that little jolt, that should be smoother and should definitely look a little bit better. And then we have another change for the target lock UI, which says abilities that home towards enemies now display lock-on UI to targeted victim. This includes Thorn Apart, Spell Disaster, Can't Missile, Blue Blazes, things like that. So I'm interested to check that out once the update does go live. Now let's take a look at some of the character balancing changes. The first character we have is for the Pea Shooter, and we're going to be taking a look at his Chili Bean Bomb ability. The refresh time of the ability has gone from 18 seconds to 14.85 seconds, so you can use the ability more frequently, but the refresh timer doesn't start until the Chili Bean does actually explode. There's also been a change to the upgrade Bean Party, where the increased refresh reduction has gone from 1 second to 4.5 seconds, so that makes a significant difference with that upgrade. The Chompers had a few changes as well. The Spikeweed ability, they've adjusted the trajectory to be more center screen aligned. I think that means you can be a little bit more accurate with the Spikeweed. For the Burrow, they've increased the chomp distance from 3 meters to 3.5 meters, and they've increased the chomp height distance from 1 meter to 4.25 meters. I'm hoping that's not going to be a major issue with people that are using like rocket jump to jump away and the chomper's then going to mid-air burrow, because from 1 meter to 4.25 meters for the height distance seems very significant, but we'll have to wait and see. And they've also made a difference to the Groddy Goop, where they've adjusted the trajectory to be more center screen aligned. So I think they're trying to make some abilities just a little bit more accurate to your center crosshair. For the Colonel Coin, they've increased his Butter Beacon ability spotting from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, and they've also adjusted the trajectory to be more center screen aligned, so it should be a little bit more accurate. For the legendary upgrade Shogun Guard, they've fixed the issue with Rapid Recob upgrade not working, and then also with the upgraded Rapid Recob, they've increased the reloading time multiplier from 0.5714 to 0.5. So it's going to take a little bit longer to reload when you do have the Rapid Recob upgrade on. They made a few changes to Nightcat's Casting Shadows ability. First of all, they fixed an issue with the aiming not being allowed while inside Casting Shadows area of effect. They've decreased the push force applied from 2 to 1.5, so that means zombies should have a little bit of an easier time when they are in the Casting Shadows. They've decreased the aim modifier from 0.7 to 0.8, and they've also adjusted trajectory to be more center screen aligned, so it is going to be a little bit more accurate once again. For the upgrade upgrade called Parkour, they've decreased the speed multiplier from 1.8 to 1.4, and they've also decreased the backpedal speed multiplier from 1.8 to 1.2 multiplier. For the Shadow Sling upgrade, they've decreased the multiplier from 1.8 to 1.4, they've decreased the active duration from 2 seconds to 1.5, and they've also decreased the ouch duration from 1 second to 1.5 as well. So there is some changes there to just slow down the nightcap. For the cactus, there's just been one quick change with the upgrade called Popcorn, which will trigger on any vanquish randomly, not just critical vanquishes. So that's going to make a big difference for the upgrade. Never actually used that myself, so I may actually have to check it out. Snapdragon's had a few big changes as well. He was probably one of the biggest issues in Battle for Neighborville. First of all, his flame blower, which is his primary weapon, they've decreased the range from 30 meters to 25 meters, so you're not going to be able to reach quite as far. They've increased the initial velocity from 62 meters per second to 75 meters per second. So I think the initial speed that the flame comes out is going to be quicker. They've added a drag start distance of 12 meters and a drag end distance of 19 meters. And they've added a final velocity post-drag at 32 meters per second. Quite a few changes there with the primary weapon. Let's take a look at those when it does go live. For the Blue Blazes ability, they've decreased the direct damage from 75 to 65, so it's not going to be quite as powerful. They've decreased the splash damage from 50 to 35, so once again, it's not going to be quite as powerful. However, they've decreased the refresh time from 17 seconds to 40.25 seconds. So even though the ability is going to do less damage, you're going to be able to use it more frequently. And with the Blazing Trail ability, they've adjusted trajectory to be more center screen aligned. For the Citron's EMP, they've adjusted the trajectory to be more center screen aligned and also fixed character challenges to stun enemies. Apparently there's some issue with that character challenge. For the Okinakon, there's been a lot of changes for the treetop turrets. They've added a 1.5 damage modifier to shields, so that means you should be able to take out shields a little bit quicker, which is pretty good. The tree eject ability used to take a second to activate. It's now only going to take 0.75 seconds to activate. For the lumber support ability, which is the ability where the Acons can heal the oak, they've decreased the healing from 157.5 to 100 health, but they've also decreased the refresh time from 15 seconds to 12 seconds, so every time you use it, you're not going to be able to heal as much, but you can use it a little bit more frequently. For passenger passive, they've removed armor. For Invoke Oak, they've decreased the summon time from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. For the Super Sap Trap, they've increased the arming time from 0.35 to 0.85 seconds. They've decreased the refresh time, though, from 24 seconds to 19 seconds, so you should be able to use it more frequently. And they've also adjusted trajectory to be more center screen aligned, so it should be a little bit more accurate. For Roll for Damage, they've adjusted the trajectory so it's more center screen aligned, so it's a little bit more accurate, and they've also fixed character challenge multi-hit. Apparently there was some bug with that as well. And for the upgrade called Hardened, they've decreased the Acorn's health gain from 50 to 25, so that should make a significant difference. And the Oak's health has gone from 50 to 75. So the Acorn's going to have a little bit less health, but the Oak's going to have a little bit more health. For the Sunflower, the Sunny Side Up ability has had a few changes. First of all, the refresh time of the ability has gone from 16 seconds to 22.25 seconds, so you're not going to be able to use it nowhere near as frequently as you used to be able to. They increased the heal amount per sun drop, though, from 2.25 to 2.4, so each sun drop's going to heal a little bit more health. But they've actually decreased the amount of sun drops that spawn each time, from 28 to 21. They've also fixed the camera priority, so sprint camera still activates, and they fixed a missing camera bob on the Sundrop spawn, so that's a few little changes there with the camera. But overall, for the Sunny Side Up, it's probably not going to be nowhere near as strong as it initially was. For the Heal Beam, they've decreased the heal rate from 25 health per second to 20.85 health per second. For the upgrade, the Vampire Flower, they've increased the heal rate from 6.25 to 8.35 health per second. For the upgrade Pocket Protection, they've increased the heal rate from 10 health per second to 12.5 health per second. And for the upgrade Sunslinger, they've decreased the equip cost from 4 to 3, and the increased heal rate was 6.25, it's now at 8.32 health per second. And for the upgrade Blossom, the Sunflower who is healing can no longer be target of additional heal beams. So that's going to be quite interesting. If you're healing a Sunflower, another Sunflower can't heal you. There's been a huge change to Arcane Enigma for Rose. First of all, the refresh time has gone from 20 seconds to 60 seconds. So you're going to have to wait a whole minute from when you use the ability to be able to use it again. They've also allowed the ability to start to refresh as soon as you activate Arcane Enigma, so that's going to knock a few seconds off, I guess. They've also increased the speed boost application rate for your teammates from 0.5 seconds to 0.25 seconds. So that means that when they're not in range of Arcane Enigma, they're only going to have that speed boost for a quarter of a second rather than half a second. But what's very interesting is the refresh rate increased for buffing allies is 6.4 multiplier. So that means that if you use Arcane Enigma to boost your teammates, you're going to have a 6.4 multiplier on your refresh time, so you're going to be able to use it more frequently. If you're simply going to use it as a ability to get out of jail for free, you're still going to have that 60-second cooldown. So you can actually get rewarded of using the ability more frequently if you're actually using it to speed boost your teammates. The increase in your speed multiplier when you're receiving damage has gone from 0.85 to 0.4. And they've also fixed an issue with the speed decrease not being cleared when Arcane Enigma ends. For the Gotify ability, they've made it so you should be a little bit more accurate to the center of your crosshair. And they've also fixed an issue with Captain Deadbeard controls being bugged if Gotify is used while in a barrel. Now let's move over to the zombie side. First of all, we have the Super Stink Cloud. They've decreased the refresh time from 29 seconds to 20 seconds, so you're going to be able to use it more frequently. However, they've decreased the active time from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. So that means that it's only going to be on the ground for 10 seconds rather than at 15 seconds. The refresh timer doesn't start until the gas disappears, so that's also going to add a little bit more time on your refresh time, and they've adjusted the trajectory so it should be a little bit more accurate. For the ZPG, the refresh decrease has gone from 24 seconds to 23.75. Not really sure how much of a difference that's going to make, considering it's only a quarter of a second. For the Imp, the gravity grenade should no longer work through shields. The throw distance has been increased, and it should be a little bit more accurate to your crosshair. Super Brains has had a huge change. First of all, the bone collision, which is his hitbox basically. They've decreased the head, arm, spine, and fist collision sizes, so that means that it should be a little bit harder to hit Super Brains, I believe. And they've also increased the max health from 150 to 175. So right there, Super Brains should be a little bit harder to hit, and he has a little bit more health. They've also made some huge changes to the Super Brains Alpha Beta Shield. First of all, the shield health has increased from 120 to 160. They've decreased the shield regen rate from 15 health per second to 10.666 health per second, so the shield regen isn't going to regen quite as fast. However, this is where it gets very interesting. They've decreased the shield regen delay from 2 seconds to 0 seconds, and they've also decreased the shield regen delay from destroyed from 10 seconds to 0 seconds as well. So even though your shield's going to regen at a slower rate, as soon as you don't have your shield out or your shield is destroyed, it's going to instantly start regenerating, which is very interesting. I have a feeling that they didn't see the shield being used too much, so this should definitely make some changes to make the shield used a little bit more. They've also decreased the mini shield health from destroyed from 40 to 22 health. Not exactly sure what that is. I don't know what the mini shield is. They've decreased the stray speed modifier from 0.8 to 1 multiplier. They've increased the back pedal speed modifier from 1 to 2. They've removed the transition time from back to heroic fists, and they've also fixed an issue with the shield not being lowered when picking up the gnome bomb. Quite a lot of changes there with Super Brains. Electric Slide has had a lot of changes as well. Probably one of the most interesting things is now you don't need to constantly keep pressing the trigger. You can just hold the trigger down to automatically fire with Electric Slide. With the actual primary weapon, though, the damage has been decreased from 16.8 to 14.9. The initial velocity has gone from 1,000 meters per second to 65 meters per second. The drag start distance has been decreased from 50 meters to 20 meters. The drag end distance has been decreased from 80 meters to 40 meters. The post-drag velocity has been decreased from 600 meters per second to 400 meters per second. They've increased the damage arc, though, from 7 to 14. and fixed an issue with arc lighting jumping to more than one target per arc jump. So right there's a lot of changes. First of all, electric slide is now an automatic fire. You can just hold the trigger down, you don't need to keep pressing it. They've decreased the primary damage of the boogie bolt as well, and also reduced the speed of the projectile as well. They've increased the damage though when it arcs to teammates, and also fixed an issue with it jumping to more than one target than it should do. And with the Funky Bouncer and Disco Tornado abilities, they've also made them to be a little bit more accurate with the center of your screen. For Captain Deadbeard, the Anchor Shot ability has had some changes. First of all, they fixed an issue with the targeting arc not turning off after being revived if vanquished with the weapon primed. They've increased the damage from 20 to 50, so you can actually do some significant damage with your Anchor Shot, and they've also made it so it should be a little bit more accurate to the center of your screen. The Explosion ability for the Parrot Pal, they fixed an issue with the ability refresh timer not resetting. For the upgrade called Power Keg, they've removed a secondary explosion. For the upgrade Heavy Metal, they updated the description to match the gameplay. The full charges last until next shot. And for the upgrade Long Barrel, they fixed an issue with the reticle not adjusting to new accuracy. Now we move over to the Space Cadet and the Space Station, which has had a lot of changes as well. First of all, the Gravity Smash, they fixed an issue with the refresh timer starting earlier than it should have done. The Cosmo Shot, they've decreased the damage from 6.9 to 6.5. The Asteroid Shield, this is a big one, has decreased its health from 300 to 125. So those shields are nowhere near going to be as broken as they were. The Hands-on Torpedo, they've increased the lifetime from 10 seconds to 15 seconds, so you should be able to use it for a lot longer. They've also increased the refresh time from 14 seconds to 20 seconds, so you're not going to be able to use it as often. And they've increased the direct damage from 40 to 50, and the splash damage from 70 has gone down to 50. So from that, it sounds like the direct damage did less damage than the splash damage, which I did not know. But they're both going to be both 50 damage from now on. The Big Bang Burst ability, they've decreased the damage from 10.5 to 9.9. They've decreased the initial velocity from 800 meters per second to 620 meters per second. They've added a drag start distance of 30 meters. They've added an end drag distance of 60 meters. And they've added a final velocity post-drag at 400 meters per second. For Space Force, they've increased the movement speed multiplier from 1.2 to 1.25. They've decreased the refresh multiplier from 5 to 2.8. They've decreased the Big Bang Burst rate of fire multiplier from a 1.5 to 1.3, and they've decreased the Cosmos Shot rate of fire multiplier from 1.5 to 1.15. For Crater Maker, they've added an initial refresh. For Hands-on Torpedo, they've decreased the health of it from 30 to 20. For the upgrade Crater Maker speed, they've increased the movement speed multiplier from 1.2 to 1.44. And for the Bullseye perk, they've fixed an issue with the incorrect projectile being used. We've got two more characters to go, the Scientist and the Engineer, and the Scientist is a very interesting one that I'm wanting to check out as well. First of all, his primary weapon, the Goo Blaster, has now switched to automatic fire, so you don't need to keep pressing the trigger down, similar to Electric Slide, you can just hold the trigger down. For his ability Sticky Healy Thingy, they've increased the healing rate from 18 health per second to 30.333 health per second. So that's a significant increase on the healing rate of the Sticky Healy Thingy. However, they have decreased the heal time from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. And I worked out that that works about the same amount of health that's healed over time. It's still about 90 health. You're just going to heal it a little bit faster. But they've also increased the refresh time of the ability from 20 seconds to 32 seconds as well. What's interesting is when we get onto the heal spray. First of all, they've decreased the heal rate from 22 health per second to 20.85 health per second. However, they fixed a residual heal where it now does an intended healing of 5 health per second for 5 seconds, which I think is very, very interesting. Basically, what I think that means is if you start healing a zombie and then you stop healing them, after you have initially hit them with your heal spray, even if you're not healing them, they're constantly going to heal 5 health a second for 5 seconds. So that's an extra 25 health that they could potentially get healing them, even though the Scientist isn't healing them anymore. So that's something which is going to be very interesting to check out. For the Power Wash upgrade, they've increased the heal rate from 6.25 to 8.75 health per second, and they've also increased the range from 18 meters to 20 meters. For the upgrade CPR, they've increased the heal rate from 6.25 to 8.32 health per second, and for the upgrade Reflexive, they've increased the heal rate from 10 to 12.5 health per second. And then finally, we move on to the Engineer. First of all, the Bullhorn Swarm should be a little bit more accurate to your center crosshair, and they've also decreased the gravity of initial projectile. For the upgrade Turbocharge, they've removed the UI health element. For the upgrade Rally the Troops, they fixed an issue with missing refresh reduction and also increased the refresh reduction from 1 second to 4.5 seconds. And for the upgrade Double Time, they fixed an issue with the proper speed blending. So that right there is all of the character balancing changes coming in today's update later today. Of course, on top of that, we do have things like Battle Arena that's coming. I believe there's also going to be a bug fix with invisible characters in Giddy Park, and there's probably various other bug fixes as well. We've just not got those in detail at the moment. However, for those who did decide to skip over the character balancing changes in details, this is a quick summary of the majority of the patch notes. First of all, overhealth will decay over time. The sprinting camera and animation will be a little bit smoother. There's going to be a target lock UI for abilities such as Spell Disaster, Blue Blazes, Can't Missile, things like that. Many abilities should also be more accurate to your crosshair and to the center of your screen. Both Electric Slide and also the Scientist will now be able to fire by holding the trigger down. You don't need to constantly keep pressing it to fire constantly. You can just hold the trigger down and it will keep firing. For the character balancing changes, the Pea Shooter's Chili Bean Bomb can be used more often. The Chomper's burrow detection should be more accurate. Colonel Corn's Butter Beacon will last a little bit longer. Nightcap's casting shadows will affect zombies less, and Nightcap's speed upgrades will be less effective than they were. Snapdragon's range has been decreased for his primary weapon, and the Blue Blazes does less damage, but can be used more often. The Oaken Acorn has a few big changes. First of all, the Acorn will get a shield break multiplier when you are on top of an oak. Lumber support will heal the Acorn and the oak less, but will be able to be used more often. And the Hardened upgrade will give the Acorn less health, but more health to the oak. For the Sunflower, all of her healing capabilities have been reduced. Rose's Arcane Enigma has been reduced dramatically, however, it will recharge faster when you boost teammates. Soldier's Stink Cloud will last on the ground for less time. The Imp's Gravity Grenade no longer will work through shields. Superbrain's hitbox is smaller and he has a little bit more health. And Superbrain's shield regens slower, but it regens instantly after you're not using it or after it breaks. Electric Slide's damage and speed has been decreased, but her arc damage has been increased. Deadbeard's Anchor now does 50 damage rather than 20. Space Cadet and Space Station damage has been reduced, but the Space Station shields have also been reduced as well. And the Space Force ability multiplier has been reduced, the ability that kind of charges up all your other abilities a little bit quicker. That has also been reduced. The Scientist Sticky Healy Thingy, healing speed has been increased, so it will heal a lot faster, but it will heal for a shorter duration of time. And the rate of the heal spray has been reduced as well, but it now has a residual healing of 5 health a second for 5 seconds. So if you stop healing a zombie, that zombie will continue to heal at 5 health a second for 5 seconds. So that pretty much is a quick summary of the character balancing changes. If you did skip to the latter part of the video to go and check out the shortened details, I definitely recommend to go read them all in detail. The video would have had screenshots of everything like that as well, so you guys can go check it out if you need to. And I'm sure there will be some more changes like bug fixes and things like that. But just remember, guys, these are the character balancing changes. There are going to be bug fixes and things like that that we don't know about. For example, invisible characters in Giddy Park. And of course, more importantly, we're also getting Battle Arena ranked later today as well, where we're going to get rewards at the end of a season, depending on what rank we are at the end of the season. Nonetheless, guys, hopefully you did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Zero, and I will catch you all in another video.